How does Dr. Germeno Abba differentiate communication and expression? According to him, in communication, one conveys what one thinks and feels at the moment of speech with other speakers. In expression, one shapes the language to one's own perception or intuition about some aspect or feature of reality, whether that reality has actually been lived or has only been imagined. Number two, why do English teachers want to privilege Filipino literature wrote from English as a models of good writing? Accordingly, as teachers of English, we want to privilege Filipino literature wrote from English as models of good writings precisely because one, the culture and experience from which these points arise are our own history as a people. Number three, define literature in two sentences. Literature refers to written works or imaginative, artistic, or intellectual value, typically characterized by the use of language to convey ideas, emotions, and experiences. It encompasses various forms of written expression such as novels, poems, plays, essays, short stories, and other literary works. And number four, give the importance of literature in a 21st century world. According to Jeffrey Lowe, it helps develop students' critical thinking skills in the quest for the ubiquitous 21st century competencies. Linguistically, it gives students the opportunity to analyze and appreciate good language used by highly regarded wordsmiths. It helps students gain a better understanding of the societies which produce the literature to foster greater empathy for others. Well, literature teaches us humanity to be sensitive and empathetic towards others. It also provides us an outlet for our thoughts and emotions and imagination. All this help can address the problems that our world is facing now, such as an increasing intolerance and stress in life. Above all, literature teaches us language and the power of communication, a skill we cannot do without in the 21st century. Explain the functions of literature in the society. It is a mirror that reflects the values, beliefs, and experiences of a specific society or time period. People can learn about diverse perspectives, civilizations, and historical events through literature. Furthermore, it connects us from the past. Without literature contributions to our collective consciousness, society would be devoid of its rich cultural heritage and intellectual growth would be stunted. Number six, discuss the main division and subdivisions of literature and the different literary genres. There are two main divisions of literature, prose and poetry. Prose is a division of literature that encompasses literary work that is spoken or written within the common flow of language, in sentences and in paragraphs that provides information, related events, embodies ideas or presents opinions. We have two subdivisions under this division, fiction and non-fiction. Fiction, it is a subdivision of prose that covers a literary work or imaginative narration, either oral or written, designed to entertain and make readers think and feel more. Legend is a prose fiction which attempts to explain the origin of things, places, objects that we see around us. Literary genres under fictions are short story is a short prose fiction's narrative depicting a simple characterization and plot conveying a moral which can be read in one setting. Novel is a very long prose narrative depicting complex characterization and plot which is usually divided into chapters. Novella is a long prose narrative similar to but shorter than a novel, but longer than a short story. It is also known as novelette. Fable is a short prose fiction narrative depicting animal characters which espouses a lesson in life. Parable is a short prose allegorical narrative which presents a philosophical outlook in life. Nonfiction, it is a subdivision of prose that covers the literary work of real life, narrative or exhibition based on history and facts, the main thrust of which is the intellectual appeal to convey facts, stories, generalizations, or concepts about a particular subject. Some of the literary genres which fall under nonfictions include: biography is a prose nonfiction detailing the life of a person written by another person. Story is a prose nonfiction record of events that transpired in the past. News is a prose nonfiction narrative of events that happen every day. The newspaper are written for this purpose. Diary is a personal account of significant events that happen in the life of a person. Anecdote is a prose nonfiction narrative that depicts a single incident in a person's life. Essay is prose nonfiction, which is a formal treatment of an issue written from the writer's personal point of view. Poetry, it is a division of works of literature that encompasses a literary work expressed in verse, measure, rhythm, sound, and imaginative language and creates an emotional response to experience, feeling, or fact. Traditionally, it has three subdivisions: narrative poetry, poetry, and drama. Narrative poetry is a subdivision of poetry which tells or narrates a story. It may be lengthy as an epic or short as a ballad and not typically measured as a metrical tale. Epic is a narrative poem which accounts the heroic exploits of a community's hero, usually involving superhuman abilities. Ballad is a narrative poem which depicts a single incident that transpired in a person's life. It is usually recited during gatherings in the past, but it may be sung in the present days. Metrical tale is a narrative poem which narrates a story in a metered or measured number of syllables, hence it was called metrical. Lyric poetry is a subdivision of poetry which features poems intended to be sung with the accompaniment of the musical instrument called lyre, hence lyric poetry. The following are the types of lyric poems. Song is a lyric poem of various themes which is meant to be sung in its entirety. Ode is a lyric poem of noble and exalted emotions which has dignified countenance. Elegy is a lyric poem of sad theme such lamentation for the dead, longing for a missing love, and grief for things beyond one's control. Idyll is a lyric poem celebrating the tranquil and beautiful landscapes of rural and country settings. Dramatic poetry is a subdivision of poetry which features poems meant to be performed on stage. Theater plays and dramatic presentations belong to this type. Tragedy is a dramatic poetry which features a hero whose hubris or shortcoming eventually causes his downfall or defeat, often ending in a very sad conclusion. Comedy is a dramatic poetry which is similar to tragedy, except that the hero triumphs and overcomes the odds towards the end and emerges victoriously. Melodrama is a dramatic poetry which is a combination of the elements of tragedy and comedy, yet ends in a happy note. Farce is a dramatic poetry which is an exaggerated comedy that aims to elicit laughter, hence relaxation. Social play is a dramatic poetry which tackles social issues and problems such as poverty, corruption, discrimination, racism, sexism, among others, with an aim to bring awareness and bring about positive change. Number 7, differentiate between literature and literature. Literature with a small l designates any written text. We can talk about literature on any given subject without much difficulty. Literature with a capital L, by contrast, designates a much smaller set of texts, a subset of all the texts that have been written. So, thank you for listening, and that would be all. Again, this is Dimer Sigba from English 3A.